He rose again. Faith is power in what you believe. So many means for us to be, not to be. Strong in numbers, we all unique. Why hate on me? Try to beat me down, run game on me. For being in me, gave all my heart, and still they be no.
Hi, my name is Lorenzo Kersey. I am the CEO for Yahweh Save Our Youth Foundation. This is a nonprofit organization. I have a special guest today, and I always talk about people, places, and things. This special guest, this young lady, it's a little twist to this. This is an abuse about her and her child. And I like for her to present to you where she's from and her name. And go ahead, Carolyn.
Thank you, Lorenzo, for that amazing introduction. And thank you so much for allowing me to contribute with regards to your amazing foundation. So yeah, really, really privileged to be here. Thank you. Yes, you said, my name is Caroline Haley Bell, and I am a somatic trauma-informed positive psychology coach over here in England. And I also specialize in narcissistic abuse. As you say, I've gone into this field after being a bus driver for 17 years, as I have experiential knowledge of the like, and after domestic violence that I experienced, the dissolution of my marriage, as you said, I'm now recovering myself and also addressing the issues that my three beautiful children present with behavioural patterns after witnessing such abuse. So yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. How are you doing, Carolyn? Is everything okay? How's you and the family, the kids?
Yeah, as you say, like, divorce is never an easy option, and obviously it saddens me that that was a route I had to take. But ultimately, you know, I had to protect myself and also my children from being in an environment where it was just big arguments every day, didn't feel safe. There was a lot of financial abuse in the relationship as well. And there was, after I'd expressed that I was going to be separating from my ex-partner, the abuse unfortunately escalated, which is something that I now realise quite a common trait for people that are in domestically abusive relationships, for the abuse to ramp up afterwards. So it's something to be cautious about, and I'd like to err everybody with a little bit of warning in that.
Right. I want to ask you something. How did this abuse affect your emotion and your well-being and your children during the time of this situation? You know, the audience would like to know your opinion of what you've been through.
Brilliant question. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I believe I was in a covert narcissistic abusive relationship with my ex-partner, where he was the abuser and I was the codependent party in that relationship. So the way that I understand a narcissist is that they are people that are deeply insecure and have quite a deep hole in the soul. So they need constant supply of different sources in order to feel valuable and worthy. And so my ex-partner had quite a shopping addiction. He would quite easily go out and frivolously buy new cars behind my back. So I never was involved with organizations, to the extent where he was lying to me about paying the mortgage and wasn't paying the mortgage. So we became 7 months in arrears for our mortgage, which obviously, with 3 children in the house as well, it was quite a position to be potentially having foreclosure. So thankfully, I was having to make the hard calls to the mortgage company every month, saying the house is up for sale. It is happening, that we're going through a divorce. Please give us another month. Please give us another month. But those calls, they are incredibly difficult to make. But I would definitely urge everybody and anybody, if you've got a call that you think you should be making to these credit companies, do so, because there is actually help there for you. You know, I know it's really difficult to explain your situation, and trust me, sometimes I would be just sat on the phone and they'd be like, "Are you still there?" Because I'm just like, it's so hard to express myself when it's so emotionally heartbreaking. But you know, the only way that you can get through it is by using your voice and speaking and reaching appropriate people, you know. But we also need to be mindful of the fact that sometimes the appropriate people aren't your abuser. You know, I initially I was trying the grey rock method. I don't know whether or not you've heard of it, where you just kind of give very monotone responses to any of their accusations and lies. And quite often what you'll find with the covert narcissist and a liar in general is that they will point the finger at you and accuse you and confuse you, because you think, well, I never did it. But you know, invariably, through my learnings and my education, it's because they're deflecting their own shame and their own guilt upon you. So, but when you're on the receiving end of that, it really messes with your mind, and it messes with your confidence, and just and then ultimately, once they've got that seed of self-doubt within your mind, you become quite anxious and or quite depressed, either or, and therefore your nervous system starts down. You're so cognitively trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong, and where they lied to you and what the word salad means, and just your mind is so working at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You've used up all your energy, and so you haven't got enough energy to actually like tend to yourself, and your nervous system starts going into a deeper and deeper freeze. So yeah, it's just I'm out of it now. Things are coming back up, but again, you know, when you realize your nervous system, you know, my mentor Caroline Strawson, she explains the nervous system on a hierarchy, traffic lights of tolerance. If you think that, like, when you're in the dorsal vagal, which is like the green, which you're like happy, fun, friendly, confident, curious, and then you go into sympathetic, sort of like, if you imagine the yellow light, you know, which is where you're kind of starting to get a lot more energy mobilized with your fight and flight reflexes in your nervous system, and then you'll go into your dorsal vagal. So you go ventral vagal, sympathetic, dorsal vagal, which is your freeze, your shutdown. And in that area, that's your, so freeze, and then also fawn, and also friend. So what you'll find, like you'll find a lot of people pleasing when they're actually really massively in shutdown. They're just giving away everything, just trying to placate everybody else so that they don't get any more animosity directed towards them, because you just haven't got the energy to fight because you're only shut down.
Yeah. You know, when you said people pleaser, I was also one of those people pleaser. In my life, I was always trying to fit in certain situations in my younger life. And I got myself into a lot of trouble. Also, I was abused as a child. I remember me going to school, and my mom was just taking me to school and walking me there. And I was like, the teacher picked me out of the crowd. You know, I wasn't even doing anything. Yeah. So she, you know, this was back in like, I think the year of like in the 60s and 70s. Yeah. So she picked me out of the crowd. I guess I was chewing gum. Yes, I was chewing gum. So she says, "Oh, Lorenzo, stand up." And I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe that she pointed me out." Yeah. So she says to me, she says, "Stand up." So I'm looking at her. I'm afraid. I'm scared, you know. So she said, "Stand there in front of, in the corner." Yeah. I said, "Oh my God." And then she tells me to take the chewing gum and put it on my nose. And I stood there for 5 minutes. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Back in those days, there was teachers was doing that. You know, they was doing that to kids. But today, that's considered child abuse.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I understand. I felt that. I
Yeah.
definitely felt that. You know, I know exactly what that is. But I also want to ask you, I know you have children. You have what? How many kids?
I have three beautiful children. My eldest son is 12, my daughter
Mhm.
is 10, and my little boy is 5. Yeah. So
Okay. I know that they have, you know, they was went through so much with this abuse and everything. And I know that they must be going through some type of counseling and emotional, you know, counseling. And how's they today since they went through going through all of that?
yeah, as you say, it's like our situation still isn't clear, plain sailing, but I'm still getting support for my children. I actually embarked with being very proactive with my schools
Right.
back in 2022 when the abuse massively ramped. My ex-partner was arrested for the first time, and I reached out to the school, and they had some early help intervention in the schools and got some counseling.
Mm-hmm.
They've been having extra support ever since, more or less. We also had social services here in England intervene with our family in order to help protect the children, and they escalated us from child in need up to child in protection. So it was, you know, very serious.
Okay. So how long? I'm sorry. I'm just want to get this question to you, but I was just curious. How long you been in the program?
Well, I mean, it's, you say, it's different types of agencies. They kind of come
Oh,
in, and so
okay.
for 2 years, there's been quite a lot of various types of support. At the moment,
Okay.
in the domestic abuse shelter, because
Right.
we are sale of our home because of the divorce and
Right.
our house falling through. So we're actually homeless in a domestic abuse shelter at the moment.
Right.
Although,
Right.
I mean, obviously, you know, it's difficult being here, and you know, I like I'm fighting with my own like.
Right. Yeah. So how long was you married to your husband during this process, this time? You you remember how many years it was?
So well, I was married with him for 6 years, but I had a relationship with him for 17 years, and I had my two older children out of wedlock. But I just want to go back a little bit, if I may, Lorenzo, and speak with you a little more about the support that my children have been getting, and sort of, as you say, the types of behavioural patterns that I've seen present in them, especially in my daughter,
Okay.
because because my daughter being the middle child, and also I have also a stepdaughter that was quite old, my ex-husband's previous relationship, and my daughter now, she is presenting with selective mutism, which, so when she gets like emotionally overwhelmed, she loses her ability to speak.
Mm,
Then because she's like, it's pretty scary, really, you know, as a mother
right.
of a, or as a
Right.
mother, as a parent in general, if your child isn't able to shout or scream because they have gone into such a freeze born, you know, emotional state that they can't speak, you know, it's
Mhm.
potentially has massive ramifications. So we're getting her, like, as you say, the extra support and increasing her confidence, and we're also going to start learning language as well, so that if
That's
she,
good.
is so that, you know, if she finds herself she can't speak, at least she can sign, and then we can. But again, it's all well and good that if she learns how to sign, but it's us around her as her family and her support that need to be able to understand that modality of communication as well, you know. So but yeah, you should say it's a work in progress, and the only way that you can actually, you know, fix a problem is, the first step is to identify the problem, right? You have to have awareness.
Right. Exactly. I talks about awareness so much about people, places, and things. You know, awareness is so much important because that's what's really going on in this world today. so many young people. But anyway, I'm grateful for you. I really am. I respect you so much. You speaking your truth, your story, it touched my heart, and I know it's going to touch a whole lot of other people's heart. But before we go, I'd like to say to everybody, the audience, the platform, if you want to support Yahweh Save Our Youth Foundation, any donation, be free to call 1-848-234-0864. Or we do have an email, YAHWEHSOY foundation@gmail.com. I thank you all, and God bless you. Thank you, Carolyn.